Hey kids, it's Old Man shouting at clouds, and now with others too. Chatting about the CFL is what they're going to do. Some have no contacts and others have no clues. Everyone will tell us all their quirky football views. Hear what Old Man and others know. It's the CFL Outsiders show.
Hey, GT. What are we going to do this week?
Same thing we do every week, old man. Take over the CFL.
Hey, kids. Welcome back to another episode of the CFL Outsiders. I remain, as always, your 100% unbiased, completely impartial, and just over the moon co-host, Old Man, shouting at clouds. Joining me as usual, we've got MJ.
My team lost and the Stamps won, so I'm wearing the Moose is Loose t-shirt. I lost my bet.
Yes, we are probably featuring two jubilant and one slightly subdued hosts this evening. Because also with us is GT.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back. It was a great Labor Day weekend, and now we go into the rest of it. So here we go.
Yes.
Season starts now.
No, it doesn't. The season starts at the start of the season. Anyway, it's going to be a kind of a roller coaster episode today because mostly we want to talk about Labor Day, and it was so much fun, and there's so much to talk about. But there are a couple other things that aren't quite as happy, but I think, unfortunately, they will have to get them in here, or I want to at least. The first one is a memoriam, and to set this up, I want to let you know a bit about my past. When I was first coaching the junior bantam team out here, which is, I think, 11 and 12-year-olds, heard about this boy who was like, at 12, was 6 foot and 200 pounds, and I thought, we want him. So I went out and introduced myself to his parents, and turns out we got to know them really well. He was a little leery about playing because he had ADHD, and he said, I can't even stand still. And we'll make that work. And his father and mother, Matt and Lonnie, were very, very happy about the idea. So he came on out. And in fact, Matt, who had paramedic training, became our trainer for the next 10 years or so that I coached. We got to know the family really well. And Matt, it was amazing. It shows what football can do for kids. He went from the first year playing defense to, by the second year, telling me he could play O-line, and he came up with rituals that he could do before going into the stance and hold it for 4 or 5 seconds, which was a huge improvement. So just all round good people and good family. And Matt, in fact, ended up playing all the way up through high school and then got recruited to go play rugby in Australia, of all things. So it was mostly a good news story. But unfortunately, his father, Scott, passed away a couple of years ago. And the one person that didn't mention this family in the family so far was his younger sister, Sam, who is a wonderful young woman, and she was hanging around with us and everything, be about 30 now. Drove out to Calgary on the weekend and was in a car crash and killed. Uh-huh. So I just want to say, if there's anyone out there that knows the McLean families, knows Sam McLean, our hearts go out to you. Someone that young and that vibrant and everything should never be taken that early. That's about all that I've got to say. Hopefully the families doesn't get any more bad news for a bit. Anyway, I know that brought it down a little bit. I wanted to mention it. It's terrible, but Sam. So let's go though. Let's try and bring the mood back up a bit. The next thing next section I labeled as signs of Labor Day, because I've got a few things here, and we'll talk about all these during the games. But my first thing, I said, these things can happen anytime in any game, any year, but somehow they seem to cluster on Labor Day, and you get all of this. So we had a quick kick that quite possibly saved a game, a block punt for a TD, a punt return for a TD, an interception fumble combo duo that changed possession twice in one down. Not quite as quick, but almost as much. 2 scores and lead changes in the last 18 seconds of a game, a doink off the goalpost, and what to me probably sums up Labor Day in a picture as well as you can, in the pregame show, for the Riders Bombers game. They had a picture of a guy in a full Riders jersey with the nameplate on it saying Winnipeg sucks, and he was busy fist bumping a bunch of people in Bomber gear and having a good old chat. So that's Labor Day in a nutshell for me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, I think what sums up Labor Day mostly is exactly that, are the fans. The plays on the field, we happen every game, but the fans on Labor Day, as they talked about on TV, it's just a whole different ball of wax. And, the crowd in Saskatchewan, the jam-packed stadium in Hamilton, and then a really good crowd in Calgary, and a bunch of Edmonton people coming down for the first time in a few years. And I know that I've seen a couple of busloads going back up to Edmonton this weekend from Calgary as well. So that rivalry is starting to heat up again, which is good. And yeah, it's always Labor Day when it's fun, and it's always fun when it's Labor.
Yeah.
Anything
it's like
to add,
Halloween.
MJ, or should I?
Well, it's like Halloween. Everyone comes out in their fanciest, finest get up for Labor Day games, and I love it. I love the crowd shots on Labor Day because it's just that bit extra.
I don't know how people are out there in high 20s weather wearing full fur outfits, and one guy dressed up as a stormtrooper that had to be sweating.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I'll quickly do my weekly fantasy update. Had a fantastic week. I was lucky enough. I picked the second highest scoring quarterback, which was Bo Levi. Nick Arbuckle had 1 point more than him, so it didn't matter too much. I picked up the highest scoring running back with Spencer Brown from Toronto, and the third highest, which was AJ, who was again I think he was 0.1 behind Brady, so right at the top there. And then I got Lawler, who turned out to be the leading receiver in it all. So it worked out. I had 135.8 points. I was really worried. I think I mentioned last week that I was going up against Steve from Piffle's podcast, who's top ranking in the league, and he goes by Safamod. He had an off week. None of this has been corrected for sure yet, but I still feel confident that even if Genius changes some of the stats, I've got this, because I had 135.8. He had 73.6.
Wow.
So,
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How can you be that far off in only 3 games? That's incredible difference. He picked, I don't know who he picked. Yikes.
I know some of them. It was just, he went with BA. And VA, unfortunately, while he played well, didn't have a lot of passing yards.
Yeah.
And so there were some of those things, but the results from this week aren't official yet, because our league commissioner is Adam Stewart out of the CFC podcast from Winnipeg and Saskatchewan there, and he's a farmer. So right now, he's got better things to do. I have a feeling these results end up getting done sometime about 2 in the morning when he can find a moment.
Yeah. Talk about signs of Labor Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And anyway, I'm happy now. I think I'll still be 5th in the league. I'm 4th in the scoring, but it's all come together. I'm at 8-5 as far as game record goes. There's 2 teams I think will be at 10-3 and 2 at 9-4. So just got to keep going. How about you, GT? Did you put anything together?
Yeah, I did. It was interesting. With only 3 games, it's much harder to make your decisions because you feel like you're being forced into things, and because the field is that much more narrow. But I did all right. I made 2 mistakes, but I had the Calgary defense, and they didn't allow a touchdown, so I think they were the number 1 defense. I had Bo as my captain, so that worked out okay, even though they lost. He still had a big day and 3 touchdowns. I had Mills as my running back, so he was right up there as well. And in the Hamilton-Toronto game, I figured it would be pretty high scoring with those two offenses. So I picked Keandre Smith, and he had a great game. And I had Herslow, and he had a really good game, so that was okay. My two mistakes were I picked Phil Pott instead of Barnes for Calgary. Barnes didn't get a touchdown, but he got a lot more yards, so Phil Pott got me next to nothing. And I picked as a cheap running back. You went the smart with Spencer Brown, and I looked at him, but I was surprised at how much money he already was after only 1 week. He was like, $5,000 or $6,000, and I didn't have it left, so I had to go really cheap. So I thought if Calgary was focusing on Brown from Edmonton that maybe their guy, Tanner or whatever his name, they would go to their fullback more often or their other running back, and they didn't. So I don't even know if he played. So yeah, that was my cheap second running back, and I got nothing from him, 0 points. So that's where I fell down. But I still was over. I think I was still 131 or 132. So I was still pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I believe that because you can afford to drop a few as long as your higher price players do well. And that was kind of me. To get those players that I wanted, that I had to go with the cheapest defense, which was Edmonton, and I got minus 0.1 from them. And and then picking up a receiver on the lower end who I thought, well, you never know. He may get a touchdown out of all this. Like you said, it's Hamilton. So I went with O'Leary Orange. And with about somewhere in that last 3 minutes of the game, they hit him on a little 4-yard in, which I got a point for the catch and 5 for the yard. So I got 1.5. But yeah,
no idea how the point. I have no idea how the individual points work on how the players score the points. I just pick them and see what the total is at the end.
Yeah, it gets I'm not even sure on the quarterback ones. Running backs, it's basically a point for every 10 yards they get, and I believe 6 points for a touchdown. Receivers get a point for every catch and a point for every 10 yards, and again, the 6 for the touchdown. And I think with the quarterbacks, if they're... Oh, sorry, go ahead, GT.
I was just going to say, and I know I was a little ticked when Mills got all the way to the half-yard line on that one, and then they didn't give it to him on the next one, and it ended up being Quincy Vaughn going in instead. I was like, oh, come on.
How do you think I felt when the Riders pulled AJ out twice on the goal line and gave the touchdowns to Mario Anderson? That's 12 points you're stealing from me. But anyway, it's there. And then, like I say, the quarterbacks, I think, are complicated. I think it's something like a point for every 20 yards they throw and a point for 4 points for each touchdown or something. But anyway, that's the gist of it. We've gone on this way too long, and it looks like MJ's nodding off over there.
Patiently waiting for it.
This is like way too much math.
Yeah. Okay. And so we're moving on to that, and this is getting the last of the contentious things out of the way. I am very happy to report that we've got some feedback on X, actually. A couple of times with a fellow named Mike Demenduk, I think. I'm sorry, Mike, I'm terrible with your name. You would have thought I grew up in a community that was at least half Ukrainian. I should be able to do these names, but I can't. But anyway, Mike, thank you for reaching out. Love the support. Love the fact you're liking the show. And I like that we had a little bit of a back and forth because he was talking about the fact we talked about Demario Houston for 2 weeks, once without MJ here and once with him here, or with her here, sorry. And he was saying to me, you really got to go in and read the policy completely, understand what it's saying and what they're trying to do. And he thought that it worked. So I did that, and I went and got the thing. I have it now. I'll link it in the show notes in case anybody wants to read it. I won't go through it all, but basically it starts out about violence against women, how they won't condone it, and any type of violence whatsoever, and that the policy will include mandatory training for all CFL employees, coaches, club members, players, everybody like that. It comes down and says, therefore, the CFL commits to mandatory training on violence against women. Yeah, so runs through all of that. And then what else did I have highlighted here? So once somebody has been found to violated the policy, the sanctions range from fines to suspensions to a lifetime ban, escalating as it goes up. And does say sanctions are subject to the provisions and procedures of the CFL's collective bargaining agreement. So that may be impacting some of what goes on here. Mm-hmm. Sorry, did you want to say something? Okay. Yeah, because anyway, so this is the part that bothers me because that's all there. And I have to agree that I think what the league policy says was followed here. I'll have to give you that. But this is the part where I disagree with it. Last part, it finishes off saying the CFL and member clubs will provide the best possible support to the women and families affected, which may include referrals to counseling for victims and children. The CFL, particularly Canadian youth, on the issue of violence against women, I'm not sure what they were trying to say there, but the CFL will lead by example, and its members clubs will make every effort to support behavioral change on the part of perpetrators, which includes referrals to education and counseling. And so that's basically it. And what they did has been consistent with that. but I think, and let me say here, first of all, I'm going to use, I'll end up using some language that may be triggering if this is an issue that really gets to you. So if you're worried at all, maybe just jump ahead. But what I did, went through it, I read it all. I understand what you're trying to say there, Mike, but I still think we're looking at this from the wrong perspective. We are men saying this is what we should set a policy that affects women. And I don't like that. They met what the policy is now. I think the policy should be changed because, frankly, as much as we may think we do, we men, we really don't understand women and the lives they live in. I know far too, and this is from me having had discussions with people that have been through this. I know far too many women who've suffered date rape, who've suffered domestic abuse from a partner. I know far too many women who talk about the fact that they spend most of their life being afraid. One woman I know who's in her 70s said she's basically been afraid her entire adult life. And we as men just cannot get to that. It's such an emotional thing that I honestly believe we can't get it. And we also don't see that. We feel like we're in a modern society, but we're not that far away from any of this. If you look, we're 60 years away from when it became legal for a married woman to own property. We're 50 years away when it became legal for for any woman to have a credit card in her own name. And don't even get me started on the laws that they used to have around birth control and having to be married and everything like that. So all in all, it comes down to this, even if a player is completely rehabilitated, they did the act. And why do they get a second chance when the women don't? You can't erase broken bones. You can't erase rape. Those are going to be there forever. So do what you want around betting. Do what you want around celebrations and calling the league into disrepute. And frankly, even a first DUI, deal with that how you want. But we need to think like women. And I really feel that what the league needs to do, this just occurred to me reading through this all, what the CFL needs to do is go out and basically contract a women's association that is an expert in violence against women and give them the power to write the policy and enforce it. And I think we'd see different changes then. So, Mike, thank you for what you said. My attitude hasn't changed. I hope you do see, though, that I am taking you serious. Any thoughts from either of you, or did I cover it? I should say, by the way, I haven't talked to GT and MJ about this, so these are my opinions. Please understand, strictly my opinions.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'll just say that policy sounds like, a CYA, and that's all it sounds like. And there's enough loopholes in that policy to drive trucks through, and they can lawyers speak it and lawyer interpret it however they want. The reality is, as you suggested, that, and I had the discussion this morning with my wife about this and about the two individuals in particular. And it's just isn't always going to go on as long as the sport is, and all sports are controlled by men, even women's basketball, women's hockey, women's whatever. Those are still league-wide controlled by men and men of power, and they're just not going to be able to, we're never going to be able to get over this until there's more representation and proper understanding and recognition of the effects of these things, and zero tolerance, just zero tolerance, period.
Yeah.
I agree.
You will not find a woman in your life who has not been assaulted, intimidated, bullied, or harassed. Not a single one, including me. And so I think that's just why these things, like when these stories come out, it's honestly, it's like these sports don't even want female fans. Sometimes I wonder what I'm even doing, because you don't care about female fans, female ownership groups, female trainers,
Yeah.
female staff. And so do better.
Yeah.
Just do better.
You're right. That's the message they're sending out to their fans, that they don't care enough to put it on top priority. Anyway, enough of that. I did want to, because Mike had taken the time to reach out, and please, anybody else out there, reach out to us on X or Blue Sky or leave the comments here. We love them. I'll be happy. I'll always make sure that I at least respond to you, and maybe we'll talk about your topic on the show here if that's something that you think is the right, if it comes out of some, I'm babbling. But anyway, please keep that feedback coming. We're going to go on to happier things here again.
So my one feedback comment I received is like, GT, you were someone missed our bickering.
Someone missed
it.
In which way?
Yes.
They're like, why wasn't GT talking more?
Oh, nice. That's funny.
Yes,
So-
I saw that too. Yes, I think the actual comment was, more GT, please. We miss the bickering and the fun. But I have a feeling, I don't know for sure, but
I think we
given
know who said it,
the handle on it, I have a feeling I might know who made that comment.
Yeah. The comment may have been made to me in person as well.
Yes. It might even have come from
Nice,
someone who's
okay.
appeared on this on this
Wait a
show at
minute.
one time. So anyway, yeah.
And I'm getting groans from the other room. So there you go. Enough of that, she says. Enough.
No.
It wasn't
This is
just
exactly
her,
what we
though.
want. You're a performer now, so you got to perform.
Yeah.
You can be nice and gentle and everything off the show, but last thing I thought, or not last thing, but thought I'd mention just quickly, we talked last week about the players eligible to come back from the NFL, and they're starting to trickle in now. Mackay Polk played for Toronto this weekend. Ajo played for Saskatchewan this weekend. They both made a couple of plays. Polk made at least one really nice catch, and Ajo got a 2-point convert. Ontario Pokey Wilson is also going to be coming back to the Bombers. So I don't know if they'll have him for this week, but he's coming there. And then just before airtime, I saw an article saying Carter O'Donnell, the O-lineman, has signed with the Edmonton Elk. So he'll probably help that line too. If they get him in for next week, maybe they'll give up less sacks. Who knows? What else? Oh, yes. MJ, you saw something on Instagram today you wanted to mention.
Oh, goodness. Speaking of people coming back, Chad Kelly on his Instagram. You know what? I can't take credit for this. If you're on Instagram, there's an amazing account called CFL Central, and the person running that account is on it. They are always posting breaking news. And in fact, Chad Kelly has them blocked. So they were like, sources tell me. So I don't follow Chad Kelly on Instagram for like my own personal well-being, but I hopped onto his Instagram and he had done a cinematic post with music and it's like the effects, and he's coming back, guys. He's announced he's coming back September 13th. And the video was entitled The Comeback. And friends. Someone did the math for me and said that he went onto the 6-game injured list on July 28th, which means the last day of the 6-game injured list would be September 12th. So he would be eligible September 13th. So I'm glad his injury wrapped up right in time for September 12th when he was able to be off of it. We'll see what the Argos do. Like someone wrote the Arbuckle stats say, they said in the last, listen to these stats. In the last 6 games, Arbuckle, 2,137 yards, 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, one of which was like a desperation last minute one. And they mentioned like there's no garbage times TDs in this. And you know what? His O-line's playing great. I don't think the offense was never the problem for them. It was their defense. And they played well. And so we'll see. Chad, I think, thinks he's like waltzing back into his number 1 spot, and we'll see what the Argos do.
Isn't it funny how once Nick suddenly starts putting it together and that team looks as good as they do, Chad suddenly, I'm healthy again. I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
I don't know. I will say 2 things on this. I'll believe it when I hear it from Dinwiddie rather than Chad himself that he's going to be back. They might not put him back in. You don't know. And then the other thing is, I'm wondering, is this going to do for the Argos this year what the whole VA Nathan thing did last year? You've got a quarterback who's playing really well. That means the team's behind him, working great, everything's winning, and but we're going to bring somebody else in now.
They're on the bye this week, so that means they're coming out of the bye, coming back that game he's talking about. Now, the fact that he's coming back might only as you said, it might, who knows how they're going to play it as a coaching staff. He might not start. He might just go in, they might platoon the two of them. Who knows? Or they might just put them back out there. But I agree with you. It can be, I think it's going to be quite messy. Again, we talked about this in the house this morning as part of that ongoing conversation about, bad people. Nick has everything going right now. Why would you disrupt that? You've won 2 games in a row. You're back in the hunt. And I'm not sure that the difference is that much. And it's going to take him a little while to get up to speed. So is it really kind of worth it at this point? I'm not really sure. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in Argoland.
Sometimes I think that the reality Chad lives in is different than the reality the rest of us live in. Like, if you get a chance, just please go watch this video he put together. Like, it's like the main character of the Argos and of the CFL in general was the vibe, right? And if they put him in, I hope Arbuckle pulls a VA and next year goes to a different team and just stomps on everyone.
Yeah, the problem with that is there just isn't as many homes. Last year was the year of having the big switch over and the big change at the top end in quarterbacks. I think next year everybody's kind of set. I can't think of anybody now that needs a starting quarterback. Everybody's set. Now there might be some place that he can go as the number 2 guy like Fajardo did and hope that the number 1 guy doesn't go. But geez, is that at this point, is that what you really want to do? I don't know. Again, it's a mess. I think it's going to be messy. I really do.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing with him going somewhere else is I think the reason he didn't have success anywhere else is Dinwiddie. I mean, when he had his success in Calgary going in for Bo, Dinwiddie was his quarterback's coach. Yeah. Now he's out there. So I think that he probably won't get the interest that like a VA did. But this is the way I see it. Once Dinwiddie, early in the season, when he seemed to think that he was getting the Chad back, he really had Arbuckle under on I don't know about a leash, but nothing more than 10 yards, easy games. Don't take any chances. See what we can do to get through. As it became obvious it was further and further into the season, he started to, now it's fully opened up and allowed Nick to go deep on these ones, the same way that Kelly used to do. And frankly, he's doing it as well as Kelly did. So I don't know, a lot of egos in there. I will say for my personal enjoyment, I asked the universe to give me this. Please tell Chad that he's officially the backup behind Arbuckle, because I can't wait for the social media meltdown that he would have.
Yeah, well, as I said this morning, I think, he's the type of guy that'll take his ball and go home and then complain bitterly, about it. So, like, if he doesn't get the start, if he doesn't get the chance to, or if he feels like he's been mistreated, he'll just sulk and go home and then go to all those thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of followers he has in America still and complain bitterly about the league in general and how he was ripped off and he wasn't given a chance and he's still a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, like he says he is.
This is the man who, when he was suspended last year, and we all know why, a children's hospital said that they didn't want him to visit anymore. And he went onto social media, his Instagram, and complained about how awful this children's hospital was, that they didn't want him to, and how disappointed the kids were that they weren't going to get to meet him anymore. Like, you just live in this alternate reality. It's just, wow. So I'm interested. It's going to be, yeah. Did he make this little movie film comeback with the Argos knowing, or did he just do it on his own? Or
yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, if you look at, he started practicing last week because it was 4 weeks into the injury, so he was allowed to practice. He was limited it was 3 days of practice. He was limited and then did not participate the rest of the week. Yep. And he's going from that to, I'm starting in 2 weeks. Enough time spent on the Chad. Let's talk about the fun of the weekend.
Yeah. Yes, this is
anything else. I don't mean to cut you off. Anything else before we move on?
I'll just keep my eye on it a little bit and let us know what's going on.
Yes, and please let us know, especially if it's good news.
Yes.
So we're we'll go on to the games, and I think we're nicely set up here. We have a Saskatchewan fan-ish who sort of to do the first game, a Hamilton one for the second, and a Stampeder one for the third. So it was a Labor Day weekend. It really was. I hope everybody got to see it. The first one was Winnipeg 30, Saskatchewan 34, and this is where the quick kick by a quarterback came into it. So basically, the game started out. They were feeling each other out a bit, back and forth. Kolaris missed a long pass downfield and went back to the same spot with, I think, a different receiver and managed to catch it. Maybe. This is one thing I'll say. It was a deep, long pass, and it never got challenged, so it counts. It's in the rule books, whatever. I didn't even catch this at the time. It was when they showed the replay at halftime from a different angle that I saw the ball did hit the ground and squirm around a bit in his hands as he was rolling over. But regardless, they got that. They got a touchdown. Then Riders came back out, and Trevor Harris fumbles on his 7-yard line, I think, or 6 or 7, somewhere there, which doesn't look good. Riders defense holds them to a field goal, so they win that one. And then they come back out, and they trade series a bit. All of a sudden, Zach is down on his 7, and he fumbles the ball, a strip sack. So AJ takes it in, and that starts the Saskatchewan scoring. And then it fairly back and forth, really, until the last few minutes. It was still very exciting football. I was getting really annoyed at Glenn Suter complaining about the fact that they weren't using the running backs in this game. He started that in the start of the second quarter. And yeah, the Bombers went away from Oliveira. I'll give them that, but I think we'll see a different one this weekend. But they ran AJ on every first down of the first quarter, with the exception of one. And then they ran him on the second down on that one. So I don't know how much more he's expected. I had to get that in. Anyway, so the Bombers score a TD in the third. Riders get a TD and a field goal. It's going back and forth. Anderson, we get into the fourth. Mario Anderson, the backup running back, as I said earlier in the fantasy stuff, he gets 2 touchdowns because they get down close and then they put him in. And he really, I hadn't been impressed with him. But the one longer run for the touchdown, I thought maybe he's got something there. And let's see, what else do I have here? Yeah, so then the Bombers come back and score a touchdown within the last 2 minutes. The Riders can't get it past midfield, so they leave the team on the field like they're going to go for it, and me and probably everybody else in the universe thinks, well, they're going to try and draw them offside. But instead, they do have Harris quick kick it. It goes down to about the 1. The Winnipeg DB chasing it, scoops it up, goes into the end zone, maybe comes out, maybe doesn't, back and forth. There's a lot of debate. Is it a safety? Is he down at the 1? And in the end, the control center split the difference and said his momentum carried into the end zone, so it's a single point, which puts the Riders up by 8. And very quickly, the Bombers march down and score a touchdown. But because of that punt single, they had to go for 2. They try a quick out to the corner of the end zone for 2, and Terryvon Campbell picks it off and takes it back the 110 yards for a 2-point conversion for the Riders. And I just love that. That ended up 34-30 for them. And, again, I say Labor Day. I have only ever seen that happen once before. And I don't know if you'll remember this, GT. You can tell me if it rings right with you. I'm sure it was a Labor Day game or maybe the rematch about probably 15 years ago, where there was a situation, I think it was Calgary had like scored a touchdown with 20 seconds left, and I believe it put them up 31-30. So they decided we'll go for the 2 points instead. That way they need a field goal only ties it for them. They went for it. It got picked off and returned the distance, so Edmonton got the 2 points and won 32-31 or something like that. Does that ring any bells with you?
If that happened, I've blocked it out of my mind.
Could be, yeah. It was at least, like I say, 15 years ago. But those are in all the time I've been a football fan, CFL, all the other levels and that, those are the only 2 I've ever seen. So Labor Day. And that was pretty much it. There was another bit of kerfuffle as they tried an onside kick and everybody played hot potato with it, but it ended up underneath a rider and they knelt it out. Game over. I thought an excellent game all round. the Bombers played very, very well. Harris didn't play that well. He can still do better. He seemed confused, especially early on, but still a Labor Day classic in my mind. Your thoughts, folks?
Well, my first thing I will say is, like, can Saskatchewan just keep those uniforms? Those are the best uniforms.
Yeah.
That's the classic. I don't care what else they're trotting out these days and selling to the fans. And maybe it's just nostalgia on my behalf because those are the classic 70s and early 80s uniforms, and that's when I first started watching. But they just look so clean and so sharp compared to everything else that they're wearing for the last number of years, with all the gimmicks built into them, that I don't know why they just don't go with that uniform. That whole game just looked great on television because of both of the uniforms between Saskatchewan and Winnipeg's classic blue and gold and white. I thought it just looked terrific. Versus the third game, I didn't think looked great, between the black and white uniforms in the third game. So that's the first thing. The second thing I will say is that, yes, Winnipeg started out well, and then they did exactly what Hamilton did 2 weeks ago against Saskatchewan. I don't understand this, and this is going to be a bit of my rant, is I don't get what's with coaches. Why do you're at third and goal at the 2-yard line. Sure, you got stuffed a couple of times, but run a play. Go for it. Put your foot on the throat of your opponent by taking that field goal at that point in time. It says to your offense, I don't think you can score. It says to your defense, go try to win us a game. It doesn't give anybody any confidence at all, and you allow the other team up off the mat. Instead you take 3 points, but they're automatically at the 40-yard line now. That 40-yard line makes all the difference. So you're just giving away those 3 points almost automatically anyways with one decent pass or one decent run, instead of stopping them at, even if you don't get it, they're at their one and they have to go 109 yards for any kind of points. And I just don't understand it. And it's just, to me, that's especially early in a game when you've got your opponent down. You were up 7-0. You could have been up 14, and that might have changed the entire tone of the rest of that game. And that's 2 times Saskatchewan's got up off the mat because other coaches have let them, basically. And I didn't understand that. But the game itself was quite entertaining, and it was back and forth. And you touched on most of the weirdness that I was going to talk about.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, it was incredibly exciting in the last few moments. And when the first interception by Tevon Campbell, they said, "Oh, look at how fast he is." And I went, yeah, that's really Zach throwing a duck. I thought that ball was in the air way too long and way too slow. And I really think, Caleris, one of the things I noticed, I'll talk about it between this, and I'll mention it again, but between him and the Hamilton game, when I looked at Arbuckle, the difference in velocity on the throws was outstanding, was just huge difference between the quarterbacks. And I don't think Caleris has the arm anymore. I don't think he can throw those long balls without having a lot of time and space. He's got to throw them up, and I thought that was slow, so I didn't give Campbell the credit. But then on that one, he baited that end zone. I'm sure he baited that 2-yard or the 2-point conversion, because he laid off of it, and then he was there in an instant. So that was really, really well played. I'll give him full credit for that one. And that's basically what I saw. And Saskatchewan deserved it, and Winnipeg made it close, but I still think Saskatchewan's the better team. They are. They're just the better team.
Right. At this point, I think I'd agree. And everything you said about Winnipeg going for it on that instead of that field goal, I agree with it. And I'll say the other point that why you got to do it there is it's Labor Day. It's true. Those games go weird. You can't afford to give up points to just pass on them. Anyway, that's us rambling.
And O'Shea said it. And O'Shea said the opposite. He said he needed to take the points. And I'm like, yeah, again, that's double speak. Yeah, I don't think so. You should have went for it. Sorry, MJ, we're sucking up the air again.
No, it's okay. It's like when Buck, they kicked that 11-yard field goal last week too with BC. Just don't. My husband and I had disagreed about this because I was like, oh, Campbell, 2-point conversion, Labor Day classic hero. And my husband's like, Zach just threw a bad pass.
Yeah.
So we had like a completely different opinion. I was like, oh, defensive, like drama. And he's like, no, Zach just can't throw anymore.
Yeah,
Well-
I agree with your husband on that one.
Yeah,
I like to have the drama. So I like to think that it was
Yeah.
just like the hero of the Labor Day class.
Yeah, I'll still give it to him, but because there was, like GT said, it looked like there was a little bit of baiting. It wasn't quite like the
Somewhere in the middle is,
like the Tyrell Ford interception against who was that, MBT or whatever.
What, the
Yeah.
greatest interception this season? The greatest?
Yeah. Oh, the one that hit him in the hands and he almost dropped.
Yeah.
I have a few points. First and foremost, very important. Did you know that it was Schoen's first game back after 2 months?
I never knew that. It was
Yeah.
Right?
I was so pleased with the information again and again and again.
Yeah, I needed to hear it several times so I would understand.
Takes a lot to sink in.
I'm glad everyone knew that. Secondly, Harris was not going to let Bo Levi Mitchell outpunt him this year. Oh no. 45-yard punt. He's like double post punting yards.
Yeah.
So
I never even thought about that.
yeah.
Got to be above
I'm
him
like,
in
what?
every category if you want that MOP.
Right?
Yeah.
You just got to do the work.
Yeah.
So we'll see what other quarterback decides to punt this year. Next, Brady slapped his helmet and you could tell he was like getting in. He slapped his helmet. Then that call got pulled back for illegal
and it was over.
procedure. And then was either 1 or 2 plays later, Brady fumbled the ball. And then that was the end of Brady. You just saw he got some magic going and and then it was just lights out. They hardly used him after that. And after the last 2 games where he was their entire offense, to not use him was quite interesting. And I understand there's some defense there, but still.
You still got to go after it with
You
the guy.
still got to. So if he's not rushing off the line, he can receive the ball just as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand that.
I don't know. There are times when you might want to avoid using a player. I'm thinking Lowther only had 2 kicks and missed one of them, but they're trying to avoid using him as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, I thought what you said you thought they were going to try to. You thought it was everybody thought they were going to try to draw them offside on that 3rd and 6 or whatever. I just thought they didn't have any faith in Lowther. I just thought they're just going for it because they have zero faith that he can kick this ball. So they're going to go for it. But it was a really well executed play. That was a really well executed play. And the shenanigans at the end of that were like, where he was in and out, or was he carried in or was he carried out? There was a play earlier in the game, which I thought when Saskatchewan carried it out of the end zone, and then the Winnipeg defender took the guy in the middle of the air. He had not touched down yet and carried him back into the end zone before his feet planted. And I thought there should have been a point for that. I thought that should have been a safety because he had not made contact with the ground, and they gave him a spot at the 2-yard line and got no points for it. And I thought that was a bad call by the refs, because as soon as it happened, I was like, how are they going to score this?
I have a note saying like Caldwelder deserved safety points, because there was a play earlier this year where Tyrell Ford had picked up Bridges, like he hadn't touched the ground, and he picked him up and shoved him out of bounds.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I was like, this is the same play.
Yeah.
But I contend there was 2 end zone miscues by Replay Center this weekend.
Okay.
Yes.
The other one, but
Well, we'll get there, but let me jump in quick before you make your next one on it. And I will say, because I don't know, so this is just for clarity, I'm not sure what the rule is on that. You may very well be right, GT, but I don't know if is it that the player has to establish themselves out of the end zone or the ball has to come out of the end zone.
does forward progress count if you're in the air?
Well,
that's
what I'm
my
saying.
point.
What happens if basically you get tackled and you manage to, coming out of the end zone, you manage to fall forward and just the ball touches down outside the end zone before any part of your feet? Is that one or not? I honestly don't know. So I'm saying that may be what the ruling is it's about where the ball is rather than the player establishing themselves on the field.
Right.
It's a possibility.
And anyways, I'm not sure either. I just thought it was odd, and to me it looked like there should have been, I just thought
Yeah,
that was odd, considering what happened later. If it had been a one-off, it would have just been like, forget about it. But then later in the game, there's kind of the same thing happens, and all of a sudden Saskatchewan gets a point. I was like, come on.
Yeah. And I just, when I saw the first one, I just, Labor Day.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that
sorry,
was
I
the
cut you
second
off,
one where
MJ.
he,
Come on back.
Well, he was it this game where he kind of ran into the end zone and then ran back out?
Yeah, sort of. He ran along the line
into
for
it
a
as
bit.
he was trying to.
Yeah. So
I mean, I'll give them the fact that his momentum carried him in. So if he was then tackled in there, that's 1 point, not 2. It's not a safety. But I don't know for sure that he didn't come back out because, like you said, he was kind of weaving along that goal line. So I'll trust the control center on that. Or sorry, the replay
center should be ready for the quirkiest, weirdest plays as it is Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You need to be ready for all this nonsense.
I thought they did a reasonable job of explaining that, at least on the television, and giving you a clear explanation of as why it was a single point. So it wasn't like there was nothing to get into fisticuffs over or anything.
Yeah, the only real miscall I was upset about, and I'm not even like when AJ's helmet got ripped off with that face mask, and I'm not sure why the replay center can't. Can you challenge a missed face mask call?
You can challenge unnecessary roughness, but I don't know if you can challenge a face mask.
Yeah, I couldn't, but I was like, I thought the replay center for sure, because we all watched it several times. So I was like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah, if you're going to step in anytime for player safety, that seems to me like it's a time. But again, Labor Day with the stuff, like I said, I know I've heard coaches challenge roughing the passer, both saying there shouldn't have been and there should be. So there's something to that, but I don't know. I guess it's really weird, some of the stuff you can't challenge. You can't challenge a block on a return if they either miss a illegal block on a return, or if they make one or they don't make one, or you get called for one that isn't real. It doesn't matter. And Toronto probably learned that earlier this year.
Yeah. Dave challenged a no yards. It should have been a no yards. And I was like, I didn't even know you could challenge that. But I also thought it was no yards. So I was in agreement with him with the challenge. So
should Dave be allowed to have a challenge flag though?
I don't think so. I question that. I agree that it was borderline. The call could have gone his way. But how much difference was it going to make at that point in the game? He seems to sometimes it just seems like maybe the flag flips out of his pocket and he makes it up as he goes.
Yeah, I don't know. This game, it was close. Winnipeg's making some noise, even without Brady. I don't know. Who knows in the West here? Could be really interesting going down the stretch based on games like this.
I think we've covered it.
Yeah.
Anything else needs in there? No. So if MJ can choke back the tears long enough, she can tell us about the Hamilton game against Toronto. Toronto 35 and Hamilton 33.
Unlike you, I'm not going to go by the play-by-play because it's just too tragic. But I will say I was very cocky because Bo is coming into this game with 7-0 on Labor Day. He is Mr. Labor Day. Plays so well, ice in the veins, Labor Day. And he and Stavros walked into the game with their Boveralls on. And it was just such a nice throwback to last year when we went on that run. And I was like, yes, it's happening. It's a sold-out crowd in Hamilton. Boveralls are on. Mr. Labor Day is here. So let's see. What do we got? Both quarterbacks played well. Arbuckle had almost like 350 yards. Bo had just over 400. Arbuckle had 1,000 steamboats to throw in this game.
Yep.
All day long. Take your time. Do 20 reads, please. Just go ahead. So that was a long day. And him and Herslow are quite the little pair. I think we've said this before, but they were talking on the broadcast about how they were getting basically third reps together. And so they've throw to each other all the time because they never got first team reps a lot. So they were always throwing together all the time. And so they've made quite a good connection with each other, and good for Herslow. I'm happy he's doing well. I'm happy Arbuckle is doing well, even if they play for the Argos. Things were exciting because there was a blocked punt and we got the touchdown. I was like, excellent. And then
Tarnowski.
yeah. Verisuk should just let him get the ball in the end zone. I was like, oh, come on. He blocked that punt. Just let him pick it up there. Touchdown's a touchdown, and I'll take
jump
it.
in here, sorry, and say maybe, but if you, the part I enjoyed the most about it was he blocked the punt and he kind of dropped and rolled and came up and he was so happy he jumped up and started celebrating and then realized, oh, wait, I'm not done yet.
Yeah, more to do. Okay. And then there was like that quirky play with the Argos got an interception, and then as they were running it, they fumbled it, and then it got recovered by the Ticats, and then it kind of bobbled again, but the Hamilton just like was the last one to touch it out, and that's such a Labor Day play. And I mean, it's this stuff. There were very few Ticats who understood the Labor Day Classic assignment, and most of them were not on offense except for Kenny Lawler. The people who understood Labor Day: Verisuk, Peters, Stubblefield, Janowski, Fisher. Those defensive players understood Labor Day Classic. They understood Hamilton defense. I mean, the defensive line did not understand, besides Reggie, but the offense did wake up and, it got exciting, and Bo threw that touchdown, and we missed the 2-point convert. Like I was involved, but I felt like I was watching it. The 2-point convert got missed. And then Brissett was like, you silly man. Yes, keep running. Please keep running. Please run while the clock is run down to 0. Like, you're so dumb. He was in the end zone celebrating, and then one of his receivers was like, no, buddy. Like, there's no time left. You ruined this whole game for us. And then at the replay, his foot was out at 1 second left by a little bit. Cue the field goal. Cue the Argo victory. What a roller coaster of emotions this game was. And, give it to the Argos. They came to play in hostile territory.
I don't know. If that ending had happened to the Riders, I don't know what I would have been doing. It probably would have involved vaping some ganja just to keep from crying. But,
Yeah.
oh, what and again, yeah, like you said, just the timing of it and that 1 second.
That's an Argo bounce.
So Labor Day.
Right? What an Argo bounce, that 1 second clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in Hamilton. You'd think the clock operators would have been on top of it more, but.
You would think.
Yes.
Well, as I was saying earlier, I thought the thing that I noticed watching it was, and Mr. Labor Day performed. He gave it everything. He gave them the lead at the end of the game. He made the big play to Lawler when he had to down the field. He made the touchdown when he had to. They had the game. But then, wait, there's another guy with ice in his veins too, apparently, because that pass that Arbuckle threw was on the money, between two guys. And Brissett made a twisting catch in the air to catch it and come down on his feet. It was not an Argo bounce. That was a great play.
Yeah, the Argo bounce is him, like his foot being out on the 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely. When he should have went out, and he recognized it in the post game. He recognized it. He said, "I should have went out of bounds." But I think. And I was counting it down and saying, not screaming at the television, but saying, like, get out of bounds, get out of bounds, get out of bounds.
Stay in.
Yeah.
But I really thought, I thought both teams really played well. The defenses were not there. And, I thought both, they threw the ball down the field, left and right and center, and big catches from both sides. And I just thought it was a fun game to watch. And then the ending of it was tremendous. It was, they did it. Both teams did everything they had to make it work. And it ended up on one team's favor. It could have gone easily the other way in both of the games, actually. In both of those two games, it could have easily gone either way. So, it was great. It was 2 great days. I was just going to say, referencing that throw and referencing my comparison earlier between Collaros. If you looked at that game where he was in and his arm and the balls he was throwing versus both Bo and Arbuckle, those balls were on ropes when they were going down the field. So I think, again, I'm not sure that Zach's got the arm strength anymore to really get it down the field as much as they'd like to and need to on occasion. So yeah. Anyways, I just thought, I looked at it and went, this is not the first time I've seen Arbuckle do this. He's been doing it over the last few games. And not only is he throwing down the ball, he's not throwing ducks down the field. He's throwing bullets. So yeah, he's looking really, like, as you said, his yardage to interception rate is tremendous. So he's playing pretty darn well at this stage of his career.
Yes, he is. And I've been saying that same thing about Zach for a year and a half now. I think he's been riding reputation he's past the due date, in my opinion. But I will say with this game, I think you guys covered just about everything there. There was so much, that one pass down to Keandre Smith down the sidelines, that when they needed the big gain, that was very pretty. Unfortunately, Coulter Woodmansey at center had started. He got better, but he started out terrible. He had 2 bad snaps and then whiffed completely on a blitz up the middle that let Bo take a big hit, unfortunately. So he got better, but not a great start. I felt like there was probably a lot of nerves going on there for both teams at the start, and I think that sort of explains why the scoring really took off in the second half.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I might mention on that is, I hope not, because Lord knows where the league's better with him not injured, but it looked to me like when Lawler made that final touchdown catch, he landed on either his tailbone or his lower back, and he looked very stiff getting up and getting around there. So I hope he hasn't done something.
They gave him CPR in the end zone. He's fine.
Oh, yeah. Sure. That'll take care of it. That and a lower top, and he's fine next week.
Yeah.
Anything else, or can we move on and let MJ erase this from her memory?
Yeah, that was just...
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's the Labor Day is one of those things, right? When you almost rather get blown out than lose by 2. Sometimes it's just tougher to lose the close ones than it is when you just get blown out in a big one. So yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of.
Yeah,
and especially in that last. Yeah, especially in that last two minutes like that, I mean, it was worse for Hamilton at the very last second. Oh, and I got to say, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but that whole thing that Bo does and some others now about ice in the veins when he's after a big touchdown like that, I can honestly tell you, I'm not with it. I don't hear all these things. I had no idea for years what he was doing. What? I'm so hot, I'm shooting up. I'm on steroids or something. Then I heard them say, ice is okay. That makes sense.
Ice in the vein.
All right. Let's go on to the other elated person here and talk about the other game, which was, let me give the score. Edmonton 7 at Calgary 28. Go.
Okay, so before we go, because you were just talking about Bo and not knowing the ice in the veins, somebody explained this to me. That all the receivers are doing this year.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I don't understand what that means. After every catch, it seems like they do that now. It's not just one guy. It's across the league. And I don't understand what it means. And I don't understand, is it like, be quiet? You can't, I don't get the combination of it. So if they're either between us 3 or somebody with feedback can tell me what this means when a receiver is doing it, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. And just because about half of our viewers are actually on the podcast without visuals, I'll tell them GT was doing the one where they cover their mouth and then pull their other hand up in front of it and seem to wave with it away or something. I don't know.
Like an elephant or something. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not sure what the heck it is.
I feel like if my kid was still awake, I could pull him in here and he would tell us.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Ask the youngins. They'll know, but I don't.
I feel like if I was on TikTok more, I might also know what this was about.
Ask your TikTok guys at the game.
All right.
Or any of the fans out there that are actually watching this, which we really love, if you know, leave a comment or drop us something on, like I say, Blue Sky or X. Let us know. Inquiring minds. Help us poor
embarrass
old
us
guys.
because we're not with it anymore.
That's right. What's you know your old when, right?
Yeah.
So
I
anyways,
think
game
that about
3.
20 times a day, but go ahead.
Yeah.
On to the game.
So game 3 was just pretty much dominance. The only way to put it, really. They, even with Vernon Adams having an off day and not playing well, and like I said, I think precast, he didn't play terrific against Saskatchewan, but he managed that game. This game, he played worse, and he won this game. But he got through this game, but he did not play well, in my opinion. But their defense is just, I'm now starting to believe. For most of the season, I've been saying I'm not sure I believe yet. Well, I'm starting to believe because they went through those guys and Fajardo looked like Harris last week. He looked like he was beat up. He looked like he didn't know what to do next. And they were just running roughshod over top of him. And they were doing it with sometimes 3-man pressure, sometimes 4 at the most. And it was just that easy. It was unbelievable. They completely stymied, well, not completely, but they did stymie Brown pretty much and took him out of the game mostly. He got 50 yards, I believe, if I remember correctly, but he wasn't up over the 100 and he wasn't the guy that they had to worry about. Curly Gittins Jr. made a couple of nice catches, but that was about it. Yeah. And then, I just thought Calgary just showed complete dominance and they didn't allow a touchdown. It was 2 field goals and a single. And that's all Edmonton got. And in fact, when they got down into the red zone twice and were close to scoring, Calgary turned the ball over on sacks twice and got the ball back and stopped them. They didn't even get a chance to get a score down there. So it really showed again that the defense was willing and able to step up when they had to. I thought the special teams played really well, obviously with a kickoff or a punt return that looked like it wasn't going anywhere and all of a sudden was in the end zone. I just thought again, that's the most I can say. It was pretty much dominance, and I don't know how Edmonton. It's not like there's one thing they can go back and fix. I don't think there's a lot of things that they need to go back and fix. So I'm not sure what'll happen this weekend, but I don't, I don't see much different in the final outcome again coming up on Saturday.
Thoughts, MJ?
Yeah, so VA was sick this week, so he was still a bit under the weather, but still played. He came into the stadium wearing a signed Doug Flutie jersey.
Well, that.
So he was ready, right? Talk about Mr. Labor Day. It was his first Labor Day game. He had never played one. So maybe we have a new Mr. Labor Day. He was like, we'll see. You're on your way. I don't like the all-white uniforms.
No, I don't like them either.
They look terrible on TV, especially.
They are the silliest looking uniform you can put on there. Toronto does that sometimes too. I mean, if you're going to have whites, fine, but not leggings as well. They look like Pillsbury Doughboys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my Fajardo and Rankin rushing report, Rankin outrushed Cody by 4 yards. So he did it, guys.
Yeah, sorry. I was talking about Brown. I meant Rankin. I apologize.
So Fajardo had 44 yards rushing and Rankin had 48. So finally Rankin outrushed him. What else?
Yes, but
it was close till
if
the
I
half.
may, you can thank. Yes. Sorry, I was just going to say, if I may, you can thank the Calgary defense or Rankin can for that because couldn't see exactly what they did, but they obviously reacted something to Cody getting outside and running like that. He did it in that first quarter and the baby bit of the second quarter, pretty much at will, and then it just went away. And that doesn't happen, so there was an adjustment. Go ahead.
So it was close till the half. It was close, like within reach. And then, Brooks got that punt return and that just deflated that entire team and they were just done. Like that offensive line was hanging on by a thread, was done. That defense was done. And then there's a couple fun things that happened that I thought were hilarious. First, the Elks tried some razzle dazzle and tried to waggle one of the big boys.
Yes, I
and
saw
he
that.
blocked the snap on his waggle.
Yep.
I appreciate the effort. I do. I appreciate the. boys, you can't waggle in front of the steps. That
No.
was kind of funny.
He was also in a pattern downfield later in the game too.
Yeah, so he was trying. He
They're
was
actually
trying.
thinking of him as a tight end.
Thinking outside the box. Anyway, we talked about Dave losing his challenge. That's so hilarious. Serezna, I was so worried they were going to just try and pop his knee back in again and send him out. Luckily, they kept him off once he was injured. I was like, please do not do that to that man. The TSN shady moment was near the end of the game. And Shania Twain's That Don't Impress Me Much was playing, and they panned tight in on Mark Killam, just looking like just frazzled. I was like, thank you, TSN. I love you. Never change. And honestly, I don't know why they didn't put Ford in. And I don't know why. This just seems to be a league-wide trend. When your starter's not doing well, you just leave him in there to flounder. And I'm not sure why we're so worried about putting a different quarterback in for a few series to try and change the tempo of the game or the cadence and just get a little spark and then give them a couple deep breaths and then come back out. Or you're just playing hot garbage and you're done for the day. I don't care if you're our number one QB. I don't care how much money you're making. You're just playing terrible. Our O-line can't block for you anymore. So, we're going to put the guy in that can run a little bit better. It just seems to be the way. And I mean, there was a time, you all know, there was a time when a 2 QB system was quite common.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really agree with that either, because it worked out terrible for my team. Because it's the 2 QB system. The argument is there's some, if you get in a rhythm, you get pulled out and then it disrupts. But then you leave Cody in for this entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Not once did you see another QB in there. Not once. And what was the reason? You didn't even get into the, if you got into the red zone, you got sacked. And honestly, Calgary had 4 sacks and it felt like they had 20. Every time I looked, I felt like Cody was getting flushed or sacked or run down. And I was like, surely they've sacked more than this, but only 4. So I was actually quite surprised because it seemed like he was running for his life the entire game.
Well, they said that there was also the 2 that he was just literally inches over the line of scrimmage, so they weren't considered sacks. Otherwise, it would have been 6.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I actually
that makes more
thought I
sense.
counted 3 of those, so I would say 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just got back out. So
yeah, the I'm not sure if you saw the post-game interviews, but they asked, was it Hutchings? They asked Flo Merlade, what happened at half? How come you guys were able to go in? What adjustments did you make at halftime to come out and be so much better in the second half defensively than you were in the fast? And he just said, we don't make adjustments. We just talk to ourselves, say, get over it, and then go out and stomp on people. And that was his quote. And then just get over it and go stomp on people.
Yeah. Just do it right.
And by the way, when I was reading the post games as well on the Stampeders CFL Horseman, which is a Stampeder fan forum, I'm not sure if you've been to. There's a gentleman on there he goes by the name Squirrel. So I'm giving him full credit for this. That's the reason I'm bringing it up. But he coined the phrase, the H2O line. And I was like, what's that? And then he said, yeah, no, it's almost like a hockey line. It's the H2O line, and it's Hutchins, Hicks, and Ormelade, the H2O line.
I like it.
And I said, I like that for the defensive line.
Yeah, definitely good. Well, I will say to your point, MJ, about leaving Cody in there. Yeah, when that punt return went back for the touchdown, you could tell the entire team realized we're not going to win this game following our game plan. Something has to be different. It's going to need something big. So why not try? If you're going to lose anyway, why not put the other quarterback in and give the people a little bit of hope with it? But I don't know. Couple other things.
What though? Right now, I don't think they can do that in that particular market. Yeah. I think that market is so messy and so fragile that if they look like they're going to change quarterbacks again, the fans are just going to go, what are we doing now? This guy was the savior from the savior, and all of a sudden he's not the savior. Where are we going? You know what I mean? I get what you're saying, but I just think in certain markets, I understand it, and in certain situations, I agree with you that you can do that. I just don't know that there's that opportunity in Edmonton right now. Edmonton, Ottawa, I think there's just places where it just looks chaotic instead of, planned. It's planned, and if it looks like, yes, we're doing this to give the guy a break and so on, and we're comfortable with him going, but it would, to me, it's like, I'm not sure that makes sense with the way that they've handled Trey Ford over so long. It would just be, again, would start that whole controversy back up again. And right now they're sort of past it, and they have to run with Cody. He's the guy.
That's a
He's
thought.
going to get injured.
Yeah. A point I didn't
injured.
think of. So, yeah. Sorry, MJ.
Oh, I said he's going to get injured. I was pretty worried he was going to get injured in that game.
Oh, I think he already is. The way Cody plays the game, he gets hurt. And that's been the one problem with him. And he's tough and he'll play through it, but it starts to take its toll on things like his accuracy or arm strength or something. But,
you know who
but
didn't
you guys covered
sacked?
most of it. I did two things that I wanted to mention just because of the Regina Calgary rivalry. I thought it was really cute, the little postage stamp Canada flag that they had on the field in Calgary when they were singing the national anthem. I don't know if you even noticed, Regina does that one across the field. They had one over
so does Hamilton,
the goal line to the 20 maybe. It just, like I said, looked like a postage stamp to me, so I kind of went, yeah. And the other thing was, MJ was mentioning Arbuckle having all time to throw the ball. There was one play with VA there. It was, I think, 2nd and 2. And I don't know what happened. The waves just parted. There was not an offensive or defensive lineman around him. He stepped up to the line of scrimmage and stood there for about literally 7-8 seconds looking around, and then made a throw that didn't go. All he had to do was take one step forward, and he's got the first down.
Yeah. And is that the one where he had so much time that he eventually threw it over top of his receiver on the sideline? Yeah, it was like, it looked like he was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. There's nobody around.
Yeah.
He panicked, just panicking.
I was actually thinking after that, maybe that's the way you beat VA. You just don't chase him.
Yeah.
He's amazing when he's running around and just trying, maybe just let him stand there.
Yeah. So after last game, VA took his entire O-line out for Cactus Club because he didn't have any sacks on him, and he's gonna have to take that entire O-line out again.
Well, he said it's going to be cheaper this week because he's only taking the guys that are going on the road.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with my mom, and my mom turned to overheard, and she was like, oh, he is such a great team player. Like, everyone loves VA, even Elks fans.
So I will. There's only one thing that I thought that upset me about the game, and that was Terrell Ford again cut a guy from underneath while he was in the air on the sidelines. I think it was Clark Barnes. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't gone back and rewatched it.
Yeah, it was
but
Barnes.
Again, it was the same thing. This is the third time he's undercut guys while they're in the air, and I was just like, it's not necessary, and I don't know why. I don't know what it's come into him this year, but that's 3 very dangerous plays to receivers that he's done, and all of a sudden he's not my favorite guy by any means. It's starting to be a pattern, and I don't like it at all.
I will say in his defense, it is a legal play, and if it was just there to make a dirty hit, I'd be against it. But what he's doing is driving people out of bounds so the catch doesn't count, and that's legal, and it's working.
I know, but that's not. But the other 2 were not on the sidelines. This particular play was on the sidelines.
Okay.
But the other 2 earlier in other games were not on the sidelines. They were in the middle of the field of play, and he's not. And he's pushing a guy out of bounds with your hands like this.
Yeah.
Even if they're on the sidelines, is fine so that they don't come down. But when the receiver's in the air and you're undercutting his legs, I don't care where you are in the field. That's a cheap shot and legal or not. It's still should be considered a cheap shot, in my opinion.
Yeah. If he's doing it in the open field, I'll give that to you. I've seen this one, and I forget who they were playing, one other game where it was on the other sideline and he did the same sort of thing and managed to get them out. But no, I don't know why. In fact, that's the other thing with that. To me, that seems like it can be very dangerous for head injuries. So when they made the ruling that you couldn't hit low on a defenseless receiver, I don't understand why they said unless he's jumping. If he's in the air, it's okay. I guess maybe they're saying, well, his knee's not planted, you're not going to blow out a knee. But I'd be a lot more worried about coming down with even with the helmet, my head coming down from 8-9 feet up and cracking on the ground. So
isn't Coxie out because of one of those hits?
Yeah, it could be. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure whether that was an undercut or not. I think it was an undercut where he went down and whacked his head off the ground in that game, and he hasn't played in a couple games because of it.
Yeah. Well, you get all the weird stuff. There was the play last year where I think it was Deontay Williams when he was still with the Riders. Where was it? Pimpleton kind of went to leap over him. Williams ends up catching him like a baby and then doesn't know what to do with him, so he drops him on his head and gets a roughing penalty. So sometimes it's planned. Sometimes you're just in a bad position as a DB or a receiver or whatnot. So, but I do agree that's, if that's becoming a sort of a style of play with it, that's not good.
Yeah. And especially when it's one guy, it's 3 times now. I think that's a pattern that, if it happens occasionally or one different players, then it's got to be something the league has to look at as. But when it's one guy, you start to wonder about that guy more than anything, right?
Aaron Grimes is the DB coach in Edmonton now, so I'm wondering what's going on there.
Grimes was not the most ethical player, I'll give you that. So that could be part of it. And who knows, maybe Tyrell's just pissed off about how Trey's being treated and is taking it out on the other team.
Yeah. It's interesting because on the sidelines, you see those two are sitting together a lot. And they're not necessarily with their other players. They sit together a lot. They go onto the field together. They go off of the field together.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's got to take a lot of resilience for Trey to be carrying on and keeping going. I hope he gets somewhere that they'll work.
Yeah.
But
last year, he used to come on and off the field on his own. He wouldn't even go with anyone. So at least he has his brother, I guess.
Are we covered? Did we go on to predicting what happens next week?
The CFL Rabbit, the CFL Rabbit was there. And that made me happy.
Was it? Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
I love it.
Okay. So let's talk about the next week's games. See what we think. It's game 1, BC at Ottawa.
Do we know Drew Brown's
Drew Brown was limited.
Crum took first team reps today.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Pick BC then.
Yeah. BC.
Trying to reconnect. I might have lost you guys.
Reconnect.
Who's
That's Oldman.
Oldman. Oh, wasn't us for once, GT.
Yeah. Hey.
Usually it's us.
Yeah, exactly. They don't even have to cut us off or anything.
No. My son was so excited to show you this shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so excited. He got it. Yeah. Okay, well, we can do our team picks while he's away. It's BC. BC.
Yeah, absolutely. It's BC.
All right, Hamilton at Montreal.
Montreal's getting everybody back, but the guy they need back.
Yeah.
So I'm still gonna I'm gonna take Hamilton.
Yeah, they said Alexander was doing limited practice, but I don't think he's gonna be playing. And the Ticats are gonna be really mad about how that game ended, and that's fuel in the fire. I think either you live or die by games like that. So I think they're gonna come out really upset, and I'm gonna go Hamilton.
But that's going to be a huge game though, because they're now 6-5 versus Montreal's 5-6. So Montreal can pull back into the lead, pull back into a tie for first place. I think.
What's the season
I don't know where
series?
the points. I don't know where the series stands. Is this the first time they've played each other?
No,
is this
it
the first time
not have been. Is it?
No,
They've
maybe early in the year.
Yeah, I feel like they're playing each other again down the stretch. So this must be their second game.
Yeah,
but it's a big one. It's a big one because Toronto's Toronto's right on their heels now, and unbelievably Montreal is still in second place, right? Like they could be in first place soon.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about the standings overall, and where with 7 games left, where the East and where they stand. And like, okay, so you're probably going to have like a 9-9 team as first place.
For sure.
right? Just because you've got 7 games left. So even if you go 500, I mean, Hamilton's only got 6 wins. That would put them at 9-9.
Yeah.
If they win 3 of their next 6, if they go 500, and how much better do these teams think? Do you think any one of these teams is better than a 500 record over the next 6 games? I don't see it. So yeah, it's probably going to be, and now you're playing each other. So every game's doubled up, right? Because now everything's interconference in the last half almost.
Yeah. I feel like Hamilton's record's really inflated. Like, I don't really feel like I don't think the first place is justified for how they've been playing, I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Banjo Bowl.
The crowd will make a difference in Winnipeg, like it made in Saskatchewan, because Winnipeg did get a couple of crowd noise penalties that I think Saskatchewan might take next week. It was closer than I think it deserved to be, so I'll still take the Riders.
Banjo Bowl. Yeah. Banjo Bowl is one of my favorite things. One of my favorite times of the year is Banjo Bowl, and I love it. I will always pick Winnipeg for the Banjo Bowl.
I have another little bit of a rant.
Oh, about Banjo Bowl? Excellent.
Yeah.
We're doing our picks without you.
Okay, that's fine. We'll see how much of it saved. Yeah. I don't know what happened. My Wi-Fi but it's back now. Hopefully we've got everything that it looks like we're still on the same session because it says an hour 26.
So GT and I have both picked BC and Hamilton in the next week.
Okay.
GT's taking the Riders for Banjo Bowl. I'm taking Winnipeg for the Banjo Bowl.
Okay. And Calgary and Edmonton?
Well, what are your picks?
Led me to
your rant.
Okay. And my little bit of a rant before we go off, because it is called the Banjo Bowl, and because they just started a new thing in Hamilton with their Hamilton junior team. I think it's the Wildcats still. I think it's still the Wildcats. And they just started an event they're going to have for Ted Gavaya, who, as we know, is suffering from cancer. So they've just decided they're going to do, I don't think it's the Ted Gavaya. I think it's just the Gavaya Bowl. And I'm like, will we stop with the bowls? This is Canada. We play for cups. Enough with the bowls. But that's America. We play for cups in Canada. We have always played for the Stanley Cup, the Allen Cup, the Grey Cup. Do you want me to go on? The Vanier Cup. They are cups. We play for cups in this country. We do not play for bowls. America plays for bowls. Make your game the Ted Gavaya Cup. Great.
Yeah.
Enough with the bowls. Get over it. It's another creeping Americanization of our country that we don't need.
I like it.
That's my rant.
I like it. So no more gravy bowls, no more Stampeder bowls, no more.
None of that.
Watermelon bowls.
Get rid of all of them. It's ridiculous. There used to, back in the day when the internet was young, there was a commercial. There was a commercial that you may remember that one of the internet providers, I don't even remember which one it was, but there was this whole thing was, in Canada, we don't surf the net, we canoe. And the provider was Canoe, because we don't surf, we canoe. And that was their whole, and it was a great tagline and a great slogan. And I think it sets us apart. And I think we have to set up ourselves apart whatever time we can. And to just fall into the trap of going, the alliteration of the Banjo Bowl, the alliteration works fine.
Worked,
But everything else, go away from it and just leave it alone. We play for cups. We do not play for bowls.
Maybe the league wouldn't let them use the word cup. Maybe they wanted to differentiate between mid-season fun things and then the actual cup.
No, it's just no. It's not, as I say about politicians, they're not that smart.
Yeah, yeah, they've just taken the easy route. Now you did remind me of something. Yeah, you remind me of something I'm going to throw out here just in case anybody watching or listening maybe knows. Earlier in the season, there were several of the teams that had the Team Ted T-shirts on the sidelines on their coaches and so they'd have their local team logo and then the Team Ted. Does anyone know if those are available retail anywhere? I would love to have one and have the proceeds go. Or
The only place I think that you might be able to find it is on the Ticats. If you go on the Ticats site, on the Ticats store, that's probably the only store that would sell them. That's just my first guess without thinking about it.
Yes, old man, buy a Ticats shirt.
Sure. Well, I could do that. I do not hate the Ticats by any means at all. They are a good rough-nosed team that I'm happy to cheer for as a second or third place in my league.
I think those were just like special issue ones. I don't think they actually sold them for retail.
Yeah, and that makes sense. But I personally think it'd be a good way to do it. Maybe I'll mention to Joe, see if the CFL Fans Fight Cancer can get a deal going with them and put some out, take them to Grey Cup. Okay. So both have BC, both have Hamilton. You've split on Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, and we came down to Calgary and Edmonton. I think I know the answers, but better say it to make it official.
Oh, yeah, I'm taking the red. Definitely Calgary.
The moose is loose.
Yes.
Gonna pick Calgary.
I know at least in my fantasy league, there's probably 5 or 6 people not very happy with the Moose this week because they took him and he got no points.
The tragedy of my child wearing this shirt while watching that game, and VA did not threw to him once and overthrew him. He's like, what? I was like, well.
And how'd you overthrow him?
Yeah.
He's 27 feet tall.
Yeah.
You have to hit the scoreboard if they overthrow him.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Again, I think that's
I
think that's the one where VA had so much time he didn't know what to do next, so he just threw it.
Yeah. He got bored standing there.
I just overthought it. He had 30 plays go through his head.
Okay, well, let me say what I'm going to head with the games. BC at Ottawa. Drew Brown was still limited in their first practice day, so who knows who's the quarterback's going to be. I think regardless, I'm taking BC, and spoiler alert, I have a feeling there's going to be some fantasy players come off that BC team to support mine this week. Hamilton, Montreal, tough one right now without seeing the injury reports.
Montreal's getting back Philpott. They're getting back their other receiver. They're getting back Dequoy.
That's the one I wanted.
Yeah, they're getting back quite a few guys, as I said, but they're not getting back their main guy, Davis Alexander.
Davis is still going to be out. Okay. Yeah. Then I'll go Hamilton on that because if Dequoy and Alexander were both back, I'd go the other way. But no, I'll go Hamilton there. Saskatchewan, I think that it's a lot tougher in Winnipeg. They are the loud crowd, and I got to give them that. But I don't think Saskatchewan played a great game, and I feel like Winnipeg played about as well as they could to get the results they have. So I think it'll go there. And I can't afford to lose any more obvious games, so I'll take the Calgary one as well. So here we go, about an hour and a half. A nice one. You see when they only give us 3 games and not too much news to talk about? Thank you all again, both of you. Tell the folks where to follow you on social media or any other thoughts.
No, I'm good. It's at GT Barnum on Blue Sky, and that's the only place for now other than here.
And we won't tell them where here is.
No.
That's your job.
3 undisclosed locations in the country.
Yes. I am still recovering from this Labor Day weekend, but you can find me at Sports and Plants on Blue Sky.
Okay, great. And I'm on Blue Sky as Oldman-SAC. The show is on both Blue Sky and X as the CFL Outsiders. And like I said, we've started getting some feedback there. Please get in touch. Let us know what you're thinking. You can get me on the CFL subreddit it's u/Oldman Shouting Cloud there. And the email, if you want to use the old email system, is oldman, all one word, .shoutingatclouds, all one word, @shaw.ca. That pretty much brings us to the end of my mandatory sort of beg session here. Please subscribe on YouTube or a podcatcher or both. That helps us. And I know the subscribers are going up, so there's some of you that are probably saying, listen, old man, you said this for weeks. I've subscribed. Quit bugging me, right? Well, yeah, thank you. We love the subscribing. But you can do more. Do you have I don't know, siblings, parents, kids. Can you sneak onto their devices and put some subscriptions in? It all helps, you know. So anyway, we do appreciate you being out there. Glad that we're entertaining at least some of you. And again, feedback is great. Comments are coming on the social medias where you find us. And likes, again, that can be your good deed of the day. You can feel good that you helped us out with a quick button there. That's about it. Until next week, this is Old Man for MJ and GT saying, get the hell off my lawn.